Did you know three-spotted rasboras, also known as dwarf rasboras, are one of the hardest fish to breed? Many people have tried and failed to breed them successfully. If you are one of them, rest assured, because after watching this video, you will be a master at breeding them. But before that, let's roll our intro. When trying to breed them, the most common mistake beginners make is that they don't understand this fish. Let's understand about this amazing fish species by talking about their unique set of behaviors, characteristics, male and female identification, habitat, tank mates for them, caring tips, and breeding guide. Dwarf rasboras are moderately difficult to care due to multiple reasons like small size, extreme water parameters at small stage, and feeding behaviors. This tiny fish is extremely peaceful and is ideal for a nano-planted aquarium, which is well established and heavily vegetated. It is even safe to keep with dwarf shrimps and other small nanofish like cardinal tetra, neon tetra, galaxy rasbora, and many more calm tiny fish varieties. The dwarf rasbora, Boraras maculatus, is a strikingly beautiful nanofish, which is native to Southeast Asia, in Malaysia, Thailand, Sumatra, Singapore, and Indonesia. This amazing small specimen is very popular among aquarists due to its shoaling behavior, peaceful disposition, and very small size. This shoaling fish can be the highlight in any peaceful community aquarium, and it is a particular standout in the planted aquarium. Dwarf rasboras are reddish-orange with dark splotches at the center of their bodies, anal fins, and tails. The fish have rayed dorsal fins and fork-shaped tails. Male dwarf rasboras are slimmer and have bolder colors than females. With optimal diet and care, many males of this species display bright ruby red coloration, in contrast to the females. Coloration and patterns vary depending on population, diet, and geographical location. Different populations from different countries have different colorations and patterns. This species is often confused with the very similar Chile rasbora, Boraras brigidae, as well as other Boraras species. The dwarf rasbora is distinctive in its spotting, as well as the bright ruby coloration that males often display. A dwarf rasbora's size varies depending on sex, genetics, and environment. Most adult dwarf rasboras grow to 0.5, 0.8 inches, and the fish's maximum size is 1 inch. Females are larger and have rounder bellies than males. Dwarf rasboras live an average of 3–5 years in captivity. Appropriate tank conditions, regularly changing the water, and a nutrient-rich diet help dwarf rasboras live long and happy lives. A 5-gallon tank is enough for a small to medium-sized group. The aquarium should be densely planted with floating plants on the surface to dim the light. The dwarf rasbora typically occupies the top and middle level of the water column, although it can often be seen swimming and feeding in the middle and bottom levels as well. They love to feed while slow flow of water. It is safe with other peaceful, small fish. Due to its extra small size and peaceful demeanor, it can be safely kept with dwarf shrimp. Larger, peaceful invertebrates can also make good tank mates. The dwarf rasbora must be kept in schools of 10 or more, although much larger schools of 30+ are more ideal. In my tank setup, L kept 30 fish with neon tetra, cardinal tetra, golden pencil tetra, and much more neo-caridina shrimps. My colony have 11 male fish and 19 female fish. The shoaling behavior of a large group of this fish is fascinating. This fish inhabits black streams, and forest rivers contains acidic water, which rich in tannins and leaf litter, where the water is slow-flowing and densely vegetated. Here in my tank I maintain 6 to 6.5 range of pH value with extra clear, clean water. The best range of water temperature is in between 22 to 26 Celsius. I maintain temperature of 26 Celsius in my tank. It requires very clean water to thrive, and it will display optimal coloration and health in a planted aquarium with dark substrate, especially where floating plants are present. Dwarf rasboras are shy fish that need hiding spots to feel comfortable. Create hiding areas with plants, driftwood, and rocky caves. Incorporate plants such as Kabomba or Vallisneria throughout the aquarium. In my aquarium, it is heavily vegetated with Anubias and Bucephalendra varieties with driftwoods and much more decorations. Replicate the Dwarf Rasbora's natural black water environment with leaf litter and driftwood. Both leaf litter and driftwood release tannins that stain the water and keep it acidic. I replace leaf litter every few weeks to prevent the tank from becoming dirty. It should not be kept with overly boisterous tank mates that will outcompete it during feeding. Dwarf Rasboras shouldn't be kept with large or boisterous species, and the fish must be fed 3 times daily. While not a picky eater, the Dwarf Rasbora will thrive and remain very colorful on a varied diet of mostly carnivorous foods. High-quality flake food, pellets, and live frozen or freeze-dried Artemia, microworms, tubifex, and finely chopped bloodworms will all be readily accepted. They are sensitive to water changes and can't be kept in most community tanks due to their timid nature and small size. In my tank, I do weekly 75% of water change, and now my fish used to it. Initially, I start with 25% water change weekly, and gradually I increase it to 75%. Because my tank is heavily planted, and I have to fight with algae also, thus huge water change is required, and I gradually trained my fish to that much of water change with time. The fish's timid nature and sensitivity to water fluctuations make it best suited for fish keepers with experience. When we talk about the breeding of this amazing tiny fish, you should have much more experiences with other tetras or rasboras which can breed easily. The Dwarf Rasbora is not easy to breed in aquarium, but not impossible either. It is a continuously spawning species where the female fish scatters a few eggs every day. They do not tend to their young. The fact that they lay a few eggs each day makes them ideal for permanent breeding aquariums. Aquariums that have been designed to allow as many fry as possible to survive with the parent still in the tank. A few fry might survive in a well-decorated aquarium, even if no special concern has been taken to create a setup suitable for permanent breeding. Dwarf Rasboras can also be bred in a more conventional way. Breeding them, the conventional way produces more fry, but also requires more work than a permanent breeding tank. If you want to breed the Dwarf Rasbora the conventional way, you need an aquarium that is no smaller than 12 to 15 liters. Larger aquariums are not suitable for this breeding procedure. The pH value is best kept in between 6 to 6.5, although up to 7 usually works. The water hardness should be below 5. You will not need any filter, but if you want to use one, you should choose one that isn't too strong. I use an air pump sponge filter, and it is perfect for me. The bottom of the tank should be covered with mesh, or similar to protect the eggs from the parents, something that the eggs can fall through to fall out of reach from hungry adults. Plastic grass tiles are known to work as an alternative to mesh. You should also add some fine-leafed plants like Java moss or Pelia moss to the setup to make the adult fish feel more secure and to offer them a spawning medium. I use small transparent plastic cup full with Pelia moss. You can see my breeding cup I placed at the right corner of the tank on sand. It is very small in size, but it is enough for the selective 3 to 4 pairs of fish. I place Pelia moss inside the cup and put small stone to hold the moss in place. Once the aquarium is set up, and until the water parameters correct, you should keep the tank for cycling at least 3 days. Ultimate parameters of my tank is 22 to 26 Celsius temperature, 130 to 150 TDS value, pH around 6. Ammonia, nitrate and nitrite, 0. Then, it is time to add 2 or 3 of Dwarf Rasbora males to the newly set upped tank at the morning, nearly 7 AM, and then next day evening at 5 PM, you should put 5 to 6 gravid females into the same tank. The pairs should be left in the tank for a couple of days. With optimal conditions, they will lay eggs within 2 to 3 days' time, usually. You can see the breeding behavior of that group. Males chase the females into the vegetation, and females lay eggs within that vegetation. In my tank, they put eggs in dense vegetation, as well as my breeding moss cup. Following give them enough time to lay eggs, you can remove the group of adults from that tank. But in my case, I daily check my moss cup, and remove all eggs to small separate tank for hatching process. When I take the cup outside, I carefully take off the Pelea moss clump and search the bottom of plastic cup for eggs. You can see here 3 to 4 eggs clearly in the bottom of cup, and they are viable eggs according to the appearance. Then put 2 to 3 drops of pure methylene blue and maintain 23 to 25 Celsius of temperature until eggs get hatch. In my case, they will hatch in the separate tank. You can see here very small tank, which is 2 liters in size, and small sponge filter is there for filtration, and it has much moss and ferns to balance the tank and maintain good environment to the fries. I put all eggs daily to this tank. This is the way I put eggs into that small egg hatching tank. You can see here also 4 eggs get into the moss surface of the tank. They will hatch safely within another 48 to 72 hours time. Following that egg transferring process, again I prepare my moss cup and carefully put it into the same place in breeding tank for lay eggs for me in tomorrow. Fries will appear on the glass surface of your tank following 2 to 3 days of spawning, and they will depend on their yolk sac another 24 to 48 hours until get the free swimming stage. When we talk about the initial 2 to 3 days of free swimming of fries, it is difficult to feed them due to their very small size. They are not in a position to eat brine shrimp. We have alternative method to feed fries until they get enough size to eat live brine shrimp. Fries are very small, and when they start free swimming, they have no remain storage of energy. Therefore, size free swimming stage, we should feed them frequently with nutrient-rich food. In here, Serendib Aquatics, we feed them with boiled egg yolk solution when they are at the free swimming stage. I will teach you how to make the boiled egg yolk solution in my upcoming video. Boiled egg yolk cause ammonia spikes if it left in the tank without heat. For prevent that, I use much more moss and small ferns in that tank. That ferns and moss also give good biofoods for small fries. Thus, take-home message is initial 3 days of feeding with eggs yolk solution. Use minimal dose of food at a time. When they are usually large enough to accept newly hatched brine shrimp after 5-7 days. In 14 days of age, that they are usually large enough to accept mashed flake food. Do not perform water changes during the first 2 weeks, as this can be too big a shock for the fry. But you can do very small water changes daily following feeding after first week of spawning. I do nearly 5% to 10% of water change because I feed them with boiled egg solution, but I refill that amount with well-seasoned tank water. This means that it is very important not to overfeed, since overfeeding makes it difficult to maintain a high water quality. Ultimately, fries will die due to poor water quality. Take-home message is not to overfeed the fish fry tank. It will end up with ultimate death of all fish in the tank within 1 night. Somehow with this all details, you will come across of successful keeping, feeding and breeding of Dwarf Rasbora in your home aquarium without much more failure attempts. This is the whole story behind keeping, sexing and breeding of 3 spotted Rasbora in successful manner. This will help you to make a good colony of amazing 3 spotted Rasbora. That's it for today's video. If you learned something new, make sure to like the video and subscribe for more. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me in the comments. I'll see you guys in the next video.